beautiful people. I'm so glad y'all found y'all's way back to me. I definitely want to say a huge thank you for all of the love and support from my first video. I felt like all of the vibes coming my way were so positive, and I definitely appreciate that. In the first video, I did ask you guys to leave me some, suggestions for future videos. So today, the first one we're going to start off with is a basic makeup application video. Hence why I'm coming to you bareface, okay? So what I want to do is I would love to do more of like maybe a 5-part series to where I will be kind of talking about a certain thing each video until we get to like the final one being like a full-on glam look, okay? I know most people have no time to do makeup and all of that kind of stuff in the mornings, on the way to work, dealing with the kids, all of that. So my goal is to kind of walk you guys through what I do on a regular basis for a natural, okay, we're going to go with natural. We're going to go with natural, but, to each his own. I have, some people might say I do the most. I don't know. I don't think so. Because my makeup application, literally, y'all, I can probably do a full-on face in about 20 minutes, okay? So what we're going to do today is we're going to do 5 things. First being moisturize. Second, we're going to prime. The third thing we're going to do is foundation. We're going to do highlight, and then we are going to set. So when I say set, you can, some refer to it as bake or whatever, but we're going to set under the eyes where we put the concealer, and then we're going to do an all over face set where all of the rest of the foundation is going to be going. So we're going to stop it after those 5 things. Okay? As I start off kind of just talking to y'all, I will of course go ahead and start moisturizing my own skin. I'm gonna be looking in a mirror right in front of me, so if I'm not looking at y'all the whole time, just know that I have a mirror right in front and also to the side. So when it comes to foundation, y'all, I just feel like, well, let's say this. When it comes to beginner foundation or beginner friendly makeup techniques, I feel like we all get so used to following the major beauty gurus tutorials and things like that, where you sometimes can forget that you may not be that skilled. I feel like it's always great to watch a good beginner friendly video so that you can kind of see how other people get ready, and you can kind of pull from different things that might actually work for you. Now of course all of the items that I'm using today will be listed in the description box, so feel free to head on over, direct links, check out everything. For the most part, everything today is pretty reasonable, but I will say, when it gets to the point where, first off, y'all, let me just say this. I always moisturize with the Cetaphil moisturizing lotion. Again, the direct link will be in the description box. But for me, when it comes to makeup, I've used a ton of different makeup brands, and back in the day, y'all, I really did used to be that person who would run out, and every time it's a new product on the market, I'm always trying to figure out, oh, let me try this, let me try that. But then as I got older, I was like, you know what, if how your mom and them used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or I really don't know who used to say that, but somebody said it. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I feel like that's how I am now with my makeup routine. Of course, it's always fun to try out new products and everything, but I just feel like, if you found something that really works for you, just continue to do that. You don't have to, constantly run out and buy all of these new products that's dropping every week, it seems like. Don't work with what you have. Let's just say that, especially as a beginner, you have to work with what you have, okay? So the first 2 things we've already knocked out. So now that I have moisturized, I've also primed, I'm now gonna just go straight into foundation. Now it is important to note, y'all, that Okay, don't be judging my beauty sponge because I did use it yesterday, but I clean my brushes, my sponges quite often. So, but I mean, for the sake of this video, y'all, I ain't need to clean it again. But I'm gonna go straight into the foundation. And lately, well, not just lately, y'all, but for the last few years, I want to say I've been using the Revlon Color Stay. And basically, I just take it straight to my face, just like this. I'm not one of those people, and I'm going to take the flat side of my sponge, and I'm basically going to just kind of start pushing that into my skin. And just so y'all know, when it comes to foundation, I've been using the same foundation for, I want to say, like I said, it's been like the past few years. And I'll tell you what kind of, you know, made me switch over. I used to be a huge MAC foundation brand, but then I just felt like it was doing too much transferring to my clothes for some reason. So I was like, no, that can't happen, because if it's one thing I hate, is to see people walking around with makeup on their entire collar, and it is just so, like, you can't look at their face, or you can't even hear what they're talking about because you're looking at the foundation around the collar. So basically, all I'm doing is I'm literally just pushing this foundation into my skin. This particular beauty sponge is just absolutely amazing. I can't tell y'all when the last time I actually used a brush to do foundation. I stopped using brushes a long time ago. Not that there's anything wrong with using brushes, but I just felt like with brushes, sometimes, you know, they can get a little streaky looking, but I just feel like I get more of an airbrushed finish when it comes to foundation if I'm using a sponge. No, this is not a beauty blender per se, but this is what I might refer to as a beauty blender. I feel like beauty blenders are, of course, they're great. I purchased one in my life, but they like $20, if not more. So I'm like, no. When I realized that this Real Technique sponge works just as great, I was like, nope. So I constantly buy the Real Technique sponges over and over again because they're great. So basically, y'all, all we have done is literally foundation. But if you were somebody that is really on the go and you really needed to get out the door, you could throw some powder on your face, like a nice little compact. You can throw powder on your face and you can really be gone, okay? But to start, because this is a beginner friendly makeup foundation application video, I want us to do as few steps as possible so that you guys can feel comfortable with saying, okay, I want to look nice, I got a party to go to, I got this to go to, but you can do you a nice foundation routine and it not take 2 years to do. Nobody really has, you know, a full-on hour in the morning, especially if you're a working professional, to, you know, try and get nice looking and put foundation on and makeup and do this full-on glam look just to go into the office, okay? So basically, this is what I'm looking like. I feel like this particular foundation that I do use, which is the Revlon Color Stay, I feel like this particular foundation it's definitely, to me, it's a full coverage foundation. Meaning, if I wanted like a full-on glam, or if I wanted to look like you couldn't see a spot on my face or whatever it may be, I can continue to add additional layers of this foundation if I chose to. Just to get that full glam look. But then if you're somebody who would love to have a lighter coverage, because you have to think about it, not only are you putting on foundation, but you're also putting on concealer, you're gonna put on some powders and highlight, all this different stuff. You don't want to walk around with cake face. I ain't never been a fan of cake face. So you can start out light, build it up. You can kind of do the spot foundation trick if you like, meaning you can just find those little areas that looks like they need to be, you know, kind of concealed a little bit, but you could easily use a nice thicker concealer to do that as well. So you just know that depending on where you live, like y'all know I'm here in Texas and it is hot. I don't want to, you know, constantly have to worry about my face sliding off because it's getting too hot outside. So that is something I don't particularly care for. So I'm gonna do not that much of the liquid application. So what I've done now, y'all, is after applying my foundation with my beauty sponge, I went ahead and I put the concealer in the places that I conceal. So this is really to give me more of a brighter look in these particular areas, because once we set it with our powder, it's gonna really give us that nice highlighted look that everybody wants to achieve, like underneath the eyes in different areas. So for that, I use the trusty the Pro Conceal, the LA Girl Pro Conceal. Now, I used to be a huge MAC fan when it came to the concealers because it's just something about their concealers that was absolutely amazing. But then when I realized I could pay $5 instead of $17 for a concealer, that's what I started to do. So I just really had, there's no reason for me to go back to the more expensive concealers. And that's also something I feel like I'm gonna just start kind of blending this out. And it should be noted that for this particular section, this sponge I use for a few different things, and you guys will see that. So the flat side of the sponge I use to push in my foundation. I simply flip it over and I'm going to blend out my concealer with another side of the sponge. So I'm basically going to push this concealer in my skin just like I did the foundation. And if you feel like you need to go back in with certain, you know, with foundation in certain areas, go ahead and do that. I'll do it probably at the end because I see a little area where, you know, you go to picking with a bump on your face and then it do you wrong. So I have a spot there, so I'll go in. But one thing also that I do when it comes to concealer is as I'm patting my concealer in, you'll see me flipping my brush back to the foundation side and kind of going over it just to make sure that you don't necessarily see where the concealer lines stop. So I feel like another thing about the whole, you know, flawless application of foundation is you have to make sure that things are looking nice and blended, because I feel like that could be what's gonna make or break you. Like, people can look at your foundation and we can tell you got on makeup, but if you don't take the time you need to take to, you know, blend the concealer in so that it looks seamless and it looks real, you know, like, oh, okay, oh, your skin is beautiful, then that's where you're gonna run into issues. So you have to spend a little time you need to spend to get this concealer and everything pushed in and make sure that it's nice and blended. And of course, you can go back in where you feel like you may need more in certain areas, but I tend to run my sponge over my eyelid as well, because in the event that I am wearing eyeshadow, this concealer also acts as an amazing eyeshadow base. So again, that goes back to, you know, being a beginner when it comes to makeup, using what you have and not feeling like you have to go out and buy certain items, because many makeup items serve multiple purposes, and I feel concealer is definitely one of those things. So basically, we've gotten this side of my face. We've gotten this left side nice and blended. So this is it. This is what it's going to look like after. And one thing you'll note, you probably can't see the lines around where the concealer actually stops in the areas that I've already completed, okay? So I'm just going to go ahead and go over to this side, do the same thing So why don't y'all tell me down in the comments, section, what's your favorite makeup product? I mean, it could be, you know, for some people they like, nope, I can't leave the house without mascara. Some people may feel, oh girl, I can't leave the house without some lashes. Or, I mean, what is that one product that if you had to, if you know you headed out the house, you cannot leave without what product? I'm interested in knowing. I feel like for me, you know, y'all, a good lash can take you a long way. A good lash, y'all, can take you a long way. I almost might be more inclined to say lashes and not brows. Y'all, I don't know. It's hard. For my under eye setting, I always use the Ben Nye banana powder, and y'all, topaz is my color. So okay, of course I'm sure you've heard about the banana powder. So Ben Nye has the color banana as well, but for me, I simply feel like on my skin tone it makes me look a little bit too ashy. It makes me look much ashier than I want to look. So I feel like this topaz color is absolutely the perfect color. It's going to give me the nice highlight that I need. All I do, put some in the top. I'm going to basically look up and I'm going to just press this into my skin. But do y'all notice that pretty much everything I'm doing is pressing and not wiping? Because you want this to be, you want this to set nicely so that it could eliminate, you know, assist with eliminating creasing and all of that. So basically that's what it is. I'm just going to put this. Now the Ben Nye powder is going to go every place that I put the concealer, okay? And I just like to blow it because it kind of gets rid of the excess. Because it is easy to look powdery if you put on too much of it. So again, everywhere we conceal is where I'm putting the Ben Nye powder. Now, a lot of people love to bake. I do too. I don't bake every day. When I say bake, I'm mainly just referring to kind of leaving the powder and everything in certain areas for, you know, a little bit longer of a period so that it can really do its thing. Again, I don't need to do that every single day. But when I'm being extra, oh yeah. So basically, we've gotten this, we don't just kind of let this sit for just a minute. Like I said, I don't have to necessarily bake, but y'all know what I have to do. So I wear a lot of black. I told y'all black was my favorite color. So if I'm ever dressed before I do my makeup, my powder tends to kind of follow my shirt. So I usually keep, this is strictly for the makeup station, okay? Because I know that anytime I'm putting this under eye concealer on, I know I'm gonna run into it falling on my clothes and being extremely visible again because I wear so much black. So I might edit that part out, I might not. So now that we have gotten our concealer set, under eye, all the areas where I added that concealer, we're now just going to take a powder brush and we're going to take our regular all over face powder. Mine is the Mineralized Skin Finish in Dark Deep by MAC. We're going to just take that and we're going to dust away our topaz powder, our setting powder. Feed through this portion because this is not necessarily a part that we're going to focus on, which is that contouring, the contouring part. But I'm basically going to go ahead and just contour just a little bit. Like I said, I'll probably end up speeding through this because this is something that we're going to focus on in the next part. I'm thinking that'll probably be part 2 because, like I said, I do all of this before I end up doing my my brows. So I, you know, do my foundation, my concealer, foundation, concealer, all of that. I do all of that before I do my brows, and I don't really know why. You know, everybody kind of has their own technique, but basically, I'm gonna be speaking through this though, because we're gonna go over all of this. But I just want you to see, because like right now, y'all probably gonna be like, no, your pictures don't really just be looking like that. Well, yeah, that's because I haven't done everything that I normally do. Contouring is something that I do on a daily basis. So, of course, in my pictures and everything, you know, I have like the full on, I've done all of the steps. But for the sake of, you know, kind of teaching you guys the way I do it, I feel like the way that worked best for me when I was learning makeup, we're gonna take it a little bit slow, because I feel like you could easily get too wrapped up in trying to do a full-on face to where you start to miss steps. You can't remember what came next. But y'all, we literally only did 5 things in this video. We moisturize, we primer. Though with those 2 things, I feel like those are 2 steps that you should never consider missing, because with those 2 steps, that is what's really going to make sure that all the work you do after that, make sure it's going to last. Because again, you know, when you leave and go to work, we work 8-hour days, okay? Most people, you know, might even work 10, 12-hour days. So if you're putting makeup on, you want it to actually last throughout the day. And by skipping those first 2 steps, the moisturizing and priming, I feel like, you setting yourself up. So don't skip those steps. And then we just added the foundation. Y'all saw how quick it took me, how quick it went. I put that foundation on in like literally on a daily basis. It's probably about a minute. We then concealed, we highlighted, we set our under eye concealer, and well, in all of our, you know, concealer that we apply. Then we set our whole face with our all over face powder. So really, y'all, if you wanted to stop there, you could literally stop there, okay? The next part of the series, we're going to kind of go into contouring. So that's why you'll notice that this is sped up in the video, because we're going to go over this a little bit more in depth next time. So what did y'all think of this tutorial? I feel like it was extremely quick. I feel like it's something that y'all could easily do in 15-20 minutes, especially for those of you who have work, for those of you who have to deal with the kiddos and all those other things in the mornings. I mean, I'm telling you, this was extremely quick. Now, I sped through the contour section of everything because we're going to focus on that in another video. I wanted you guys to just see what my basic foundation application routine looks like. I mean, what my practical foundation routine looks like. Because again, I don't do all the color correcting. I don't do all those extra steps. Those are just things that I don't do. I don't color correct, none of that. I feel like if you get you a foundation that has some pretty nice coverage, meaning it is, you know, thicker or it's buildable, I feel like you can hide or conceal all of the blemishes that you may have by just having a good concealer or a foundation that is buildable. I feel like, you know, doing the full-on color correcting and everything that you see a lot of these, you know, major YouTube gurus doing, I feel like it's just extra steps that beginners don't necessarily need to focus on. I think once you kind of hone in on your craft of, you know, like, hey, this is the routine that works for me, then start trying out some of those other things. But for the most part, I feel like you should just kind of start slow, do the 5 things that we talked about initially, with adding a 6th though, because you should never leave the house without setting your makeup. So I guess I should have probably included that as part of the steps as well, as part of the 5 that we talked about. Y'all, I bet y'all thought I played y'all. I did not. I did not forget, but I do have my very first giveaway. So I decided, because I am using products that I use and constantly repurchase, I thought, why not give away a few items that I use today? So what I did was I was picking up some things for myself at Ulta. So I ended up picking up a few additional sponges. 3 of the sponges by Real Techniques that you saw me using throughout the entire video. And I also picked up some of the little personal mini sizes of the setting spray. Given away to 3 individuals. You'll get a sponge as well as a setting spray, okay? So again, these are items that I use throughout the video. Y'all see how useful that sponge was for me. I did pretty much, the only time I used a brush is for highlighting and contouring, but for the most part, all of my makeup application is done with the sponge. These sponges are like legit, okay? They are absolutely amazing. I even use it to set my under eye powder. So you get so many uses out of this sponge, okay? So I just thought it would be fun to give away a little something. That way you guys can try the Mario Badescu setting spray and let me know how you like it. Like I said, I've only been using it for, you know, the past almost 2 weeks now, and I really love it. I feel like the fragrance is nice. It has like a nice calming scent to it. So 3 winners to receive 1 setting spray and 1 of the sponges. Y'all, all you have to do is, like I asked earlier about your favorite makeup product, just make sure that you leave a comment down in the description box, because I'll be pulling from all of those individuals that do leave a message, and I'm going to draw the names and post them on my Southern City Lights Facebook page on Friday. So at some point on Friday, I'll then message you if you are the winner and get your mailing address.